Hey man,
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
The haircut looks good.
My publicist said it was a good idea for something like this.
Oh, okay. Is that why you got the haircut? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Just for this. That's a lovely looking cup.
Thank you. Thank you. It serves a dual purpose in the morning. Sometimes you need your coffee and you want to do one of these. Cheers.
You know, it's darker than I expected. I don't think I look very good. I don't usually have that light on.
Oh, it's okay. I wouldn't. I wouldn't worry about it.
All right.
We're recording.
Yep.
And this is actually one of the very first. You're one of the very first guests on the show. So I'm really happy that you're here and that we're doing this together. So I appreciate you taking the time.
Happy to be here. Can you tell me about the show, or is that off a recording thing?
Oh, well, I mean, we're just kind of, I'm kind of going with it and kind of, seeing where it takes me, see where it leads me into the world and where we can go with it. You know what I mean? I'm open-minded about it, and it's just been an individual, personal idea of mine for quite some time. So I thought I'd give it a try, and here we are.
Let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Matt, why don't and I don't act, I do consider ourselves a very good friends, but I don't know a lot about your backstory, where you grew up and things like that. Can you give me just a little bit of a spiel about that?
Sure. I was born in Kitchener, Ontario, and grew up there as well. When I left for university, actually, I went to university in Waterloo for 2 years at the University of Waterloo, quit that, and then started bouncing around. Then I went to Simon Fraser University in Vancouver to study music. And when I finished that, I moved to Chicago to study art and music. And after a couple of years there, studying and then teaching, I moved back to Canada, lived in Toronto for 2 years. And then Elise and I moved here 7 years ago, basically today, or 7 years ago this week.
Okay.
And I've been here ever since.
Huh. Well, I like how you said that your experience over at the University of Waterloo is like you quit that. I think the term is drop out or leave school, but you make it sound like a little bit like a job.
That's true. I always say I quit. I never say I dropped out.
No, it's still accurate.
I think you've already touched on something deeper.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, you've really pinpointed something in my psyche. There's definitely a reason I say quit versus drop out. Quit makes it like I had all the power.
Ah, I see.
Although in my defense, I did immediately go to a different school.
Okay. So you can say that you didn't quit on education. You simply moved from one thing. You transferred. That's what it was. It was a transfer.
Now that you've unlocked this, let's call it what it is. I dropped out.
Oh.
I'm a dropout.
I should probably apologize. I didn't want to put you on the spot here and accumulate all this pressure.
No, I get what this show is. This is
okay. Yeah.
This is a show that gets into the psychology of your guests. Unlocking trauma with Nathan Goldman.
Every Wednesday night, tune in. Yeah. It sounded like you had quite a bit to do in the arts, which it doesn't surprise me. Do you play? I mean, I know you have like a system, things like that, but is there? I can see you have a a keyboard there.
All
Do you
these-
play regularly at Matthew? Is that part of your regular like routine? Is that something that you like to do to release? Or?
Yeah, for sure. And frankly, especially during the last 6 months, when we've been stuck inside, it was a nice chance to dig in and create some stuff. Typically, we know each other obviously through playing sports and playing softball. And when that happens in the summer, I don't do much. So if I'm being perfectly honest, I haven't touched this in a week or so. In the winter, that's not true. It's pretty much all I do. And mostly writing music. I haven't played live in quite some time. I used to play with, most recently I played with Eric Powell and Nigel Taylor, who you'd know as well from the softball community. We had a little rambunctious group called Our Legendary Nature. And we hope to get together again, but now we don't live in the same place, so it's a little tougher to make that happen. So now it's just something I do mostly for myself. Everything I do goes out into the world at some point or another, but yeah, I play regularly. It's a long answer. Yeah, I play regularly.
That's cool. That's a facet of yourself that I don't really know all that much of. And did you enjoy performing when you guys had the chance? Did you know, is that maybe one of your goals to eventually recreate or go forward in a band and be involved in music in a more showcasing sense? Is that not necessarily that important to you? Or?
Well, if I'm being honest, what I used to write and perform was very out there, very art world, noisy type of music. And I knew how to perform that, because if you would go into an art gallery and play for 7 people who stood still, that was a success. That's all you really needed. That's a show.
Yeah.
That's a great show.
Yeah.
And now I do different sort of things, more dance music, and I don't know how to perform that. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. So maybe someday, but now that I'm doing stuff that is meant for people to enjoy, I don't know how to get it to them. I used to make stuff that really wasn't very interested in people enjoying it or not. And then it was easy.
I see. So you've had to pivot. Suddenly, you're taking the approach of actually caring more.
I always care.
Right? It's true. Yeah, that is definitely a line. But I feel to those that haven't heard it or don't see it coming, it works. But okay, I'm feeling a little self-conscious about it, and this is my show too.
You're not the only one calling people out.
Yeah, for sure. But it sounded to me that that you were creating something that was quite different, quite unique, and now you're doing something that's a little bit more streamlined. Would that be accurate? Or?
And in some ways, it's just a very generous way to say what I was doing before. I don't know if it was that unique. Okay. I liked it.
Okay.
But I certainly wasn't the only one who's doing stuff like that, no.
Okay, all right. I get it. You were you had mentioned, like, you know, that, you know, the last 6 months have been different, and obviously we're in a bit of a almost like a movie right now with COVID-19 and social distancing and everything like that. How's that been for you in terms of your setting and what you've had to deal with? And what you found challenging, and what you have found enlightening at the same time.
You know what I'm really interested in? I'm really interested in the masks. I'm really interested in the evolution of masks as a thing that we now do in North America. I'm interested in, we're all going to have mask collections. And I think at the beginning, maybe 3-4 months ago, it was masks as necessity.
Right.
And now I'm seeing all these really cool masks, and I'm self-conscious about my masks. Like, I want cooler and cooler masks. Do you have a lot of masks?
I mean, I have a few. They give out some of the free ones if I do decide to go to work. At the plant, they'll give me a pack, and like those are the disposable ones.
That's not going to be good enough. That's not cool.
No. I do have my regular mask right here. I'll grab it. Just give me a moment. It's a little interesting that I look at it as an accessory. In terms of what it is now, but because it's an accessory, it's also something that I could potentially lose. It kind of goes into that category. So I do find myself putting it on my keychain from time and time again, which might not be the wisest course of action. But I'm kind of with you. When everything kind of happened and with all the information we were given, I was like, it seems like we're going to have this mask thing around for a while. So I think I might, be okay with like investing in something that I won't lose, or that take a little bit more care of. It's a little intense.
I like that. I think that's cool. I like the shape of it.
It's got the vents.
You got the vents. That's like airplane ready.
Yeah, it's rather intense. There's just like the Velcro piece here kind of flops open sometimes.
I love that. I've only got ear ones now, but if I'm ever flying with a mask or training or whatever, one of those seems like very nice.
Yeah.
And I like the cut. That's like the Mortal Kombat cut.
Yeah, and there's a nose piece here, I got a couple of these online. It took forever to get here, I guess just with the high demand and everything. But yeah, and I'm not going to lie about it. I feel pretty badass whenever I'm wearing it, and it's always in a public setting, right? Here I am, I'm going down the aisle of the grocery store. Oh yeah, I'm gonna grab those biscuits. I'm gonna get those cookies. Oh yeah, like get out of my way. So.
Yeah, that's true. You're wearing this totally badass mask and you're judging cantaloupes. There's like a disconnect there.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like it just doesn't fit. But it's weird. What was it that happened to me yesterday? I was at the dep. I was wearing a hat and my mask, and I got carded. I was getting a 6-pack of beer.
Of course.
I got carded. And just for the record, I'm 33 years old. So, I mean, legal drinking age is 18. I mean, that's quite a gap there. And the cashier had even said that, when she was looking at my ID, that she couldn't tell if it was me. Well, of course she couldn't tell it was me. I have a mask on. There's all these different settings or scenarios that are just completely different now, just because of masks.
Do you think underage kids are doing a hat and a mask and going in and trying to buy booze? I'm sure they are.
I'm sure, yeah. There's definitely they've definitely given it.
What a great scheme.
Yeah, I think I definitely.
Especially tall young people.
Right.
Like a 6-foot 16-year-old. Mask, hat, even some sunglasses.
Yeah. Why not?
Oh, I
what's the
bet they're
worst?
getting away with it
What's
left,
the
right,
worst that
center.
can happen? Absolutely, for sure.
I've never
Um,
thought of that. This has been great for 16-year-olds.
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm thinking one of the things that prior to masks is that like facial hair is typically
Yeah.
a decent enough sign, for gauging how old somebody is. So you put the mask on, suddenly that element's not available anymore. So yeah, I guess you put a little bit more onus on height.
Yeah,
It's a good
exactly.
question. It's probably harder for them now. When was the last time you got carded?
Probably the last time I was in the States, they tend to card everybody.
Yeah, a little bit more by habit or by protocol.
Yeah, then you're not worried. It's just buying something, show your card.
Yeah.
I bet you'll have to adopt that in certain places. Because if we really can't tell,
No.
it just becomes a thing. Show the card. Excuse me.
Do you have a second ID?
Yeah.
Things like that. This doesn't look real.
And then questions, pop quizzes.
Okay, yeah. What's your favorite vegetable? If you could have any superhero power, what would it be?
Is that on my driver's license?
Oh man, I didn't even realize. Yeah. Is there any quirky habits or new interests that you've gotten into during this whole time? Something that maybe you didn't think about before, or something that you're looking at differently.
I wonder. I bet there are. I bet Elise would know.
Elise would know if you picked up any new interests or
She'd
quirks.
know if I picked up any weird habits.
Oh, okay.
Any new interests? No, definitely not. I'm trying to remove interests as opposed to add new ones.
Mm.
It was almost like not being able to see people open the floodgates of, oh, I'm just allowed to eliminate things from my whole life. This is fantastic. I'm going to give up all my hobbies now.
Yeah.
And just keep the last couple. But habits, I'm sure I have tons. I'm sure that I'm becoming.
Well, like a lot of us have, maybe you're washing your hands more often and things of that nature. Maybe you're washing your hands less. I don't know.
Yeah, I was really good at it before. Now I'm fighting back by saying,
well, look, everyone else is washing their hands more. That would mean to me I don't need to wash them as often.
Sounds reasonable. I got my mask. I'm good. Why you? You got some weird hobbies now?
Darts. Here, let me just move this over a little bit. You know what I'm talking about. So one of the things we picked up, me and a few of my friends that you know of, is we started playing darts on Zoom. Zoom darts. So we all got our own dartboards, and we all set them up, and we all have a seated position like the one I have now, where you could see me and you see the dartboard. Some of us would get our phone and we would connect. I could probably do it now. Let me see. I can connect to this Zoom call on my cell phone at the same time. I should be able to. I think the technology exists in order to do it.
I think it does. Having moved the camera is going to make this whole thing a nightmare to edit.
Well, I thank you for the heads up. I'll probably address it. Look, we could just call this our run through one. And then this was just the practice. Okay, I need to emit my own cell phone. And we should have another screen pop up here.
We got
Okay,
another Nate.
here's myself coming. Oh, there we are.
It was a great demo. But you heard the audio while that was happening?
So yeah, I just took it off.
That's what I used to do.
It's a feedback thing.
Yeah, that's what I sounded like. That's what the music I made sounded like for 10 years.
I like how that came full circle.
Yeah.
So a lot of us will have we'll have our phones up on the dartboard so that you can see where my darts are landing as I'm throwing them. And then
That's so cool.
Yeah. So a bunch of us will have close-ups like that, and one person will have another phone or another computer and keep the score going. And then we go around the screen.
Did anyone miss and hit their phone?
Not that I've seen. Usually, you'll prop it in such a way so that it's like off the board. I mean, I put it like underneath,
That's very cool.
And it's tons of fun. We haven't done it recently in a while, just because there's more available to do lately. I guess people are busier, they have things to do. But yeah, it's tons of fun. And the whole virtual world, Zoom and everything like that, is rather interesting. Just playing a dart game like that, having a couple of drinks and talking, even though I'm alone in my own apartment, it really does feel like I have company over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's cool.
I did a couple of those Zoom party things where we would play those video games, that sort of thing. And went to one Zoom dance party. That was
a Zoom dance party. You gotta tell me about that.
It was someone's birthday, someone that I don't know all that well. I think that made it easier because most of the people in the dance party I didn't know. So, because it's ridiculous, right? What you're doing is totally ridiculous because you're in your living room and you're probably sitting like this, and then you just sort of start boogieing down, and there's a playlist that's happening that you can log on to and play it in your own apartment. But eventually you're not talking, you're just dancing in front of your laptop with 24 other people who are dancing in front of their laptop. It's completely absurd. It was a very good time, but I think that we'll look back and think Zoom dance parties are amongst the most absurd things we did while we were locked down. Because just if you had a camera pointed at the room where it was happening, it looks like a crazy person. If someone walked by my window, they would have seen it and thought that person's not well. Right? At least this dartboard thing, that's even like, I love the second camera part of it. I love that that's kind of how they film real dart games.
Yeah, you got a point. I didn't even think about it that way. I haven't done one of these Zoom dance parties before, but it doesn't. It just doesn't ring with me. Is there any competitive nature to it, Matthew? Like, maybe it would work a little bit better if everyone took a turn dancing and people watch. I'm just thinking, if you're dancing on a Zoom party, how do you even know if the other people are dancing and what moves they're pulling out? Isn't that like the whole thing about dancing? You want to see what moves are being brought to the floor?
You do, yeah. And you can't really do both at the same time. If I'm boogieing, I've moved away a little and I've started to boogie. By the way, we've both done excellent imitations of
Yeah, this is dancing. Yeah, dancing. This is it's like the upwards floss, Yeah.
Yeah. So you go and you boogie, but now I'm too far away to see what you're doing, so I got to stop and then get in close like this, and then take a look at what the other moves are.
Yeah.
And I go back.
What has he got? And then you might find yourself doing both. You're dancing and you're trying to get a look at the same time.
Yeah, that's right. But we did have, this was, what we really brought to it was that, so it looked cool. Like
hold that thought. Hold that thought. 1 second here. You can't bring props on my show, okay, without expecting me to break out something similar. Yeah. Is this something that people break out during the dance parties? They put it maybe in the corner of their Zoom screen?
Well, yeah, I did. Only me. I'm probably the only one who thought of it ever.
Oh, okay. I find I'm thinking of you as the Zoom dance party expert now.
No, I've been to one. I'm no expert.
I'm sorry, that makes you an expert in my Oh. So is there anything that you're pushing yourself to do these days, Matthew? Do you find yourself you have a little bit less expectations? I know that I have, I've been relatively okay with everything, and I also, it seems a little bit weird to say it, it's kind of cool that something this impactful is happening globally, worldwide. I don't know. It seems like very like out of a movie, and yeah, we will definitely be older in our 50s and 60s talking about, hey, do you remember that year and a half, those 2 years of COVID, like that? Well, that was nuts, There's something that seems somewhat exciting about it. I totally understand that there's bad things happening out there, and where everyone's hoping to get out of this ASAP type thing. I'm just trying to look at it for what it is in the meantime.
I think it's totally fine to recognize that it's a terrible situation, but also occasionally be happy sometimes. And I think you can do both. You can say, this is cool that I've had to do something exceptional, something weird. I've had to stay inside for 6 months. I've never done that. I probably never will again. This is very, very weird, and think that it's kind of cool. It doesn't mean you don't respect the tragedy of the tragic aspects of it. So, don't feel bad about that. In fact, I think a lot of people feel that way, that there are little bits that are super neat. And you feel guilty thinking if neat stuff happened. Well, then maybe we should all feel a little guilty, but, I think it's okay to feel not that guilty. You know what I mean?
Thank you for your blessing, Matthew. I do feel a lot better about the whole situation already.
Because I at the beginning, I felt like anxiety
Yeah.
that, and this is a terrible thing to
Yeah.
think. I felt anxiety that that the pandemic was going to end, that the lockdown was going to end before I finished watching all the TV I wanted to watch. That was a real thought I had. I thought I'm not going to make it. I've got a lot of stuff that I want. Like, I want people to not bug me until I've seen everything I want to see. And I'm not close to making it. It's still going to end, but I'm at peace with that now. Like, because I realized that I'm still allowed to watch TV post quarantine.
I see.
It was very irrational. It was like it was the only time I'd ever watched TV, and it was the only time I was ever going to be able to watch TV.
That's that's really interesting.
That's how my anxiety manifests.
I'm not going to have enough time to watch all the TV I've been meaning to watch.
There are just so many seasons of so many shows.
Yeah, I think that's I think that's great. You know, and I've had similar thoughts as well. There is, you know, this kind of back and forth mentality, you know, for someone like myself. I mean, even though I'm fortunate enough to have already had the flexibility to work at home when I wanted to, there is still always a little bit of pressure to go into work and to get out and do things. And suddenly under quarantine, that pressure just no longer exists, you know, and you know what? It's kind of nice to stay home. You know, I don't have to get up and you know, fight the world in terms of commuting and you know, doing those errands and things like that. There's definitely like a somewhat relaxed nature about it all and everything. So for sure, there was definitely some moments where I was like, yeah, I kind of don't want this to end, if you can believe that. But yeah, on the other side of things, there's these socialization factor. I'm not comfortable with the term social distancing, because I really think what they mean is physical distancing. You know, the whole 2 meters and
Sure.
being appropriately apart. Because I think social distancing would almost imply that you are supposed to, you know, not socialize or text or go on social media or anything like that. You know, which is the opposite of what we ought to be doing. We're all humans and we're social animals, and we have that social need. And I think for a long time there, when we were.
So I'm glad you cleared that up, because I interpreted it literally and cut everyone off.
Well, you know, now knowing that, I'm very happy you went outside your bubble and agreed to.
I got right up in people's personal space at the grocery store, but I didn't talk to them because.
It's good. It's good. It's good. I like it. I like it. I like it. But yeah. What do you think that let's say we are, let's go with 20 years in the future. What is it that you think you'll remember most about this challenging time that, you know, our planet is dealing with?
20 years in the future.
I don't know if by 20 years in the future you've managed to watch all these shows that you've been meaning to watch. I don't know if you have a timeline for yourself.
It'll be just like this, but I'll have a mission accomplished banner behind me.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because I'll have watched all the TV.
You'll still be living in the same place then?
Same place.
Okay.
But I'll have finished television. I'm sure that what will stick is the beginning, the march. Elise was still living in Newfoundland at that time, and there was a lot of stress and anxiety and worry about getting her back safely, getting her back. Things changed day by day, and it became clear that the extent of the lockdown and the shutdown of airports and travel was going to eventually affect her. She was meant to come home April 14th, and it was, or April 11th, and it was March 13th that things got really serious, or around March 13th. And she eventually came home 2 weeks later. But every day in that 2 week stretch, that's what I'll remember, because it was, you know, the week after I was scheduled to go to Newfoundland and do some work, and we were going to meet up in Newfoundland.
Yeah.
And that quickly got shut down. And then it became more and more frightening, thinking, what if you get stuck in Newfoundland? That's, no offense to Newfoundlanders, it's not where you want to get stuck. But she made it out, and it was fine. But that's the part of the story that I'm sure I'll remember the most.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could totally resonate with that. Just not even like the first week, but like the very first few days when everything started getting rolled out here. You might remember, I think it was on a Thursday where they had canceled school on the Friday.
Yeah.
It was a midweek thing. You might remember one of the first restrictions was no groups of 250 people or more indoors. And then the next day, the restriction changed to no groups of 2 people or more indoors.
I remember that. I had tickets to go see a show on the Saturday night.
Yeah.
And on Friday, the show was on because the restriction was 250. And then the Saturday, they had to cancel the show because it was 2.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Do you think that one person was able to go watch the show? It sounds to me, Matthew, that you weren't selected as that one person.
It sounds like it. Maybe someone bought the other
248 tickets.
Yeah. And that said, fine.
Yeah.
We're me and the solo performer. We're good. All the opening bands, they have to go home.
Right.
It's me and one solo performer. That's the show. No bartender, no sound guy, nothing.
No door guy.
Nothing.
No valet.
Leave the key in the mail slot. I'll open the door. I'll lock it behind me. It's me and the performer for, I don't know, 90 minutes. Then I'll get out of there.
What? If you don't mind me asking, what show were you going to go watch? Was it something you were very much looking forward to, I imagine? Or
as a matter of fact, yeah, it's a guy named Christian Finez, who's a German or Austrian guitar player, but he doesn't come to North America that often. So it was kind of, and I've never seen him, so it was kind of a special opportunity. I think it was the first time he's toured in, well, a little while at least. And so that one bummed me out. I got a couple of shows canceled. Most of them weren't such a big deal. People I've seen or things that I wasn't, like, not end of the world stuff. None of them were end of the world stuff. But that was, of the shows that I didn't get to see, that was the one that did kind of, just 24 hours and I would have been okay. I might have gotten COVID.
Yeah, so. I was about to say, it was so close. It was so close. Yeah. Had your show been on the Friday night, you probably would have been okay.
I would have been okay. It would have been so silly to go, but I didn't know then. Like, yeah. I think you remember the same thing. When things were shutting down, my attitude and a lot of those attitudes was, well, let me just do one more thing. Like, let me just do one more
let
completely
me
unsafe thing.
let me just get my fix, okay?
Yeah.
So I can get ready for this.
And now that we're told we're allowed to do those same things again, my attitude is very different. I think, nope, I don't need to. I don't need, you already shut it down. I don't need that thing ever again. I don't need shows.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. The concerts and live performances are a big deal. I'm just gonna get another drink. You can keep talking, Matthew. My kitchen, I mean, isn't very far. It's actually all here. You know, you can't see my hand, but all where I'm reaching, like my fridge is right here, my oven and everything like that. So as I cross through the barrier here, I'm actually not that far away at all.
All right. But I have nothing to say.
And let me just get out here. Yeah, I you might remember I had the Nathan Goldman live show coming up just a couple weeks after things got,
That's true.
things got laid down. And you know what? Like, you know, I had it. It took a lot of work. I basically was producing and managing it too, and you know, it admittedly took quite a bit of work to have gotten it to where I had, and to have to have a global scenario like this, change all that was quite something. It felt like the most extreme heckle or something that that this show of yours and Nathan Goldman will not go on. This is the higher power is reverting to this type of extreme, but you know, of course not. I would say these things happen, but they don't really. But I do plan, once things make a little bit more sense, to get that picked up and going again. But yeah, I don't think it's any stretch to use the word scary. You know, those first 72 hours when things were rolling out were nuts, and at least for myself, it felt like there was a very much like a bunker mentality, you know, like everybody in, don't go outside, even though they were like saying like it's okay, you can go for a walk, like, you know, felt like very much like we had to protect ourselves for at least the first stint there. But it's great to see that things have improved to this extent, and hopefully things keep going the way they are. What's your gut telling you in terms of a vaccine, how this ends, and where we'll be, let's say, a year from now?
Oh, I don't know. I think.
Okay, we can move on to something else then, Matt.
Yeah. I think a year from now, I'm gonna have a really cool collection of masks. I'm gonna have one that looks very much like yours. I'm gonna get one of those. I like the ventilator Mortal Kombat mask.
Okay, yeah. It was actually it's not quite accurate, but it you know, when I had it on, when I put it on the first few times, I did think of Bane from Batman a little bit.
Yeah, sure. And I would like a Bane one as well, like a full Bane one.
Like an actual, you know, like little tubes and everything. And you have this strap that goes up the top, right?
Definitely.
That's how the Bane mask.
I don't know if I can wear my glasses. But that'll be me in a year. I don't care, vaccine or no vaccine. I think, you know, the mask game is here.
It's here to stay.
And I plan on embracing that culture.
Where do you think that this mask movement, we'll say, is going to have a big effect when it comes to Halloween costumes in just over a month and a half.
I'm really excited for Halloween. Yeah, I
Is
think
it actually sounds like Halloween is an exciting holiday for you in a non-COVID-19 world.
that's true. It is. I like it very much. I like every part of it because it has a different. It can be cool for different ages. Like it's cool for little kids because you get candy. It's cool when you're a young person because you get to party and dress up, party in a costume. It's cool when you're old because even handing out candy to kids, I love that. So it just like it keeps changing shape and is still great. Whereas I don't think other holidays do that.
I see what you're saying. There's an appeal for almost any age group, and you find yourself evolving and changing as every Halloween comes about.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. What's been your most like over the top intense Halloween costume?
Oh, I was an Andy Warhol portrait of myself, which I think is something you'd appreciate as someone who likes putting your own name on things. This is true, I would say. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, I imagine you're referring to most of like my gear, my softball stuff, and I put my name on it,
like
or do you mean
media, like
putting my brand on
just like your very pro Goldman social media presence?
Okay, all right, sure.
For example.
All right.
So this was the same thing. I was Andy Warhol made those
Okay.
Marilyn Monroe, and he made lots of them, but I copied a Marilyn Monroe one where it's the same image a bunch of times. In this case, it was 9 in different colors.
You know, I'm not even sure why I'm writing this down because I could totally review this video after.
But you could. I went to town on this.
Yeah.
And created a roughly meter by meter square and made 8 versions of my head, and I copied the colors exactly, which was totally unnecessary. Nobody was checking my work to make sure I perfectly matched an existing painting from the world.
Right.
But I did, and then at this point I had a shaved head, so a real chrome dome baldy, so it looked kind of dramatic. And I left the middle top square open for my own head, and then built arm straps on it, and then looked really cool because would pose like my head in the picture, and was this recreation of an Andy Warhol piece of myself. However, the problem was this was when I was in my 20s, and when you're going to Halloween parties, meter square is not a
difficult to move around
to party in.
Yeah.
One, you run into everyone and everything, and 2, it's impossible to drink because my arms are stuck out like this. I can't.
Anyway, you were holding the costume together, so to speak.
But it had arm straps, and there was no way to get my arms up to there. So I had my friends build me well, actually, I didn't have them. A industrious friend built a straw, like a super long straw, so I could hold a drink over there.
Oh, okay. Cool.
But I liked that because it became part of the party atmosphere. Here's this idiot who built a neat-looking costume he didn't think it through at all, and now we're gonna watch him fail at partying all night long. So that was it. That was my most elaborate costume. You?
That's most elaborate.
That's okay. It's your show. You don't have to answer my.
No. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna talk about that later. I did go as a can of Pabst Blue Ribbon a couple years ago. I thought that it went over pretty well. I was very happy with it. Um, I like to go with a bunch of gag costumes. Like I've totally wrapped myself up in tinfoil, and I've gone as leftovers, for instance. You know what I mean? Just easy quirky costumes like that. Ghost Rider.
Oh,
I did
nice.
Ghost Rider one year. Yeah. Ghost Rider. He's my guy, man. I'm still very unhappy with the movies that came out in the 2000s with Nicolas Cage. I feel that that casting decision was not only one of the worst casting decisions ever, it was probably just one of the more disappointing decisions ever made. just didn't match up.
I had no idea you were so passionate about that. Do you think they'll bring Ghost Rider into the MCU at any point? That's the right
Absolutely,
universe,
yeah. I
right?
think they will. I know he made an appearance in their Agents of Shield thing, and
Oh, right.
I've seen a few videos, but that's not enough for that type of character. And absolutely, I'm sure they'll find a way to weave them into their universe, and they'll find. Who knows? The crazier things have happened. Maybe it'll be Nicolas Cage again. I don't
That sounds like a Nicolas Cage move.
It could be.
Do the character again, but
Could
start
be.
from scratch.
Yeah, here I'm going to replay the same character in this reboot series of this character.
No, not a continuation. A brand new character.
No, brand new reboot. Who knows?
I would like that decision.
All right, let's go with this. Were you pleased with the original decision? And that's totally okay. You're totally entitled to your opinion, and it does not need to coincide with mine.
Sure. I didn't see them when they came out. I, in fact, only saw Ghost Rider for the first time last summer or 2 summers ago.
Okay.
On a hotel television at my cousin's wedding, and I loved it. It's a
very interesting dynamic that you were in at a hotel at a cousin's wedding on their TV. Was it just on? I guess it was just on the channels.
Just flipping channels. Ghost Rider's on near the beginning. I sit down. I watch the whole thing. I just it's nuts. If you like the character, I could see not liking the movie. I don't know the character too well, one way or another. I know Nicolas Cage is a committed actor to things, and he committed. If nothing else, he committed to it.
Oh, I'd agree, and just for the record, I also think that Nicolas Cage is a good actor. I just don't feel that casting decision was. Well, I think I said enough to that.
So, who do you want to see in the reboot then?
Boy. I'd like to see someone that you wouldn't just kind of fit in there because, I would think someone like Matt Damon, I think could pull it off pretty well. I think Mark Wahlberg could pull it off. I'm sure he will enter the MCU at one point. I think actors are probably telling
Everyone will.
themselves these days, if I'm not in the MCU, I'm not doing a good job.
You're not. Yeah. Everyone will be there eventually.
Yeah, and the sooner the better, because it's all going to cycle, and then you're going to get your second MCU character.
Yes.
I think it's a very, it's so strange me saying this, but I feel like it's a relatively flexible role in terms of who you can put in doing it. Except for Nicolas Cage. I think that anyone else that I can come across would be good. And in saying that, I'm not saying that they were horrible movies. I still watch them, and I watched them more than once. I just feel like it could have been so much more. But I'm very pleased that it is going to get another opportunity to hit the big screen in a much bigger way. And it will be great. I'm looking forward.
I like the boldness of your take. It's flexible. It could be anyone. It could be Matt Damon, Mark Wahlberg, Meryl Streep, Denzel Washington, just not Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
It could be a child actor. That's fine. It's not Nick Cage.
Elijah Wood.
11 from Stranger Things. She did excellent.
Yeah. Probably. I just pictured it right now, and it seemed to work. Griffin, we're running out of time, and I feel like we were just getting into it there. But I would like to have you on again at some point. So I'll be in touch.
Yeah, let me know.
I know you got the social distancing going on, but
I may have follow-up questions for Ghost Rider and Nicolas Cage on Sunday.
Oh, okay, I see. All right, so we might have to have this conversation off of Zoom and out of the public eye. So that's totally.
Well, thanks for having me. I hope you get 3 good minutes out of this.
We'll see. I'm really just kind of going with the flow of this. I might just post the whole thing and see what happens. You don't know until you try, right? But I will say you are looking great. Your haircut looks good, and I really do appreciate you taking the time. So I'm sure I'll be seeing you soon.
Absolutely.
And I hope to have you on again in the near future. All right.
Right on. Talk to you soon.
All right. Take care, Matthew.
Ciao.